Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Inspired by Christ podcast. I'm your host, Kourtney Goff. As always, we just bringing on regular, everyday people just to have genuine conversation to bring people closer to Christ. And today we have a wonderful, wonderful guest. We have Aya Milagros. She is from in Paris right now. So we global with the conversation that we had. We had people already on from Australia, but now today we got somebody on here from Paris. But I know you are originally from St. Martin, if I'm correct.
I
So
am.
we global right now, so I'm looking forward to that. But she's an author and a mindset coach, and just want to take the time to say thank you for coming on and welcome to the pod. So how are you doing?
Thank you for inviting me. I am doing great. It is a pleasure to be here on your podcast. Of course, giving glory to God and doing what we need to do to get everything moving in terms of the kingdom. So I'm definitely yeah, very happy to be here.
Man, it's beautiful. I'm excited. I know we are talking prior to getting on. I just even catching back up. It's just a pleasure of meeting you from the first time around and seeing you
Right.
first starting, getting going with the coaching, the mindset coaching to look now years later, you traveling, you doing master
Yeah.
classes, teaching people books, so many different things. So how are you
Right.
enjoying Paris like right now? Like how is that going?
So okay, so I'll be very honest. The weather is terrible.
Especially in
Like
St. Martin, right?
I know, right? Especially like when you come from like the islands and then it's
Yeah.
like, you always have this sun and it's
Uh-huh.
hot and
Uh-huh.
it feels good. And
Yes.
in Paris, it's like I've been looking for the sun and like was expecting to have a great summer. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, just hold on. Summer's gonna come, it's gonna get
Uh-huh.
hot. It never came. Like we
Still
we
looking for it.
still looking for summer, but besides that, everything has been great. It's just been a journey of evolving, growing, of God just, taking me from glory to glory. So I am extremely grateful to be in this moment, to be in this space, in this environment, and to just, live everything God intended for me to live in this
That-
season of life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know with you being in Paris, I seen that you had the opportunity to go to the Olympics. Is that right? How was that?
Right. I did. I did. So I did experience the whole Olympic experience here in Paris. That was amazing as well. There were so many people. I actually went to see the athletic how do you say that? Because remember I'm French. So
Athletic.
now
Yep.
it's
Yep.
like, when I was a Samaritan, like I
Uh-huh.
was English and I would struggle in French. Now that I'm
Uh-huh.
in Paris, I'm constantly speaking French, and
Yes,
I'm
yes.
still like struggling in English.
Yes,
So
yes. Yep.
so I saw in French we say athlétisme. So
Uh-huh.
that's like the how to
Athletics.
say, like when the whole running and racing and
Sports.
all.
Yep.
How do
Yep.
you say that? How do you
Like
say that?
athletics. Athletic.
Athletic. There
Athletic.
you go.
Yep. Yep.
That's
Yep.
what I saw. And so yeah, it was a great experience, just being there and then just meeting so many different people, because it's like we have people from all over the world that come to the Olympics. And I was sitting like next to people from the US. I
Wow.
had a basketball player from Puerto Rico who was actually on the Olympic team
Uh-huh.
for Puerto Rico right in front of me. And I
Wow.
was exchanging with someone from Spain. So it was,
Uh-huh.
it was really a nice experience.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. Like it's an experience just watching on TV, but then you're like actually right there live. Like you said, you're connecting with so many people across the world. So that's beautiful. And I know even you talked about it before. I watched one of your other interviews about making that transition from St. Martin to Paris. And I just thought that that was great. And I feel like that would be some great inspiration for people. And so if you can give a little bit of background, like making that transition and God in the process of all of that, that would be great to help bring context to the people how God is moving.
Listen, Carney, it was honestly like one of the most difficult decisions that I had to make,
Hmm.
because it's like you have everything going for yourself, and
Hmm.
there's no really reason why you feel like you should leave,
Hmm.
but there's just something inside of you. There's a calling inside of you, just calling you for bigger and greater things, and
Yes.
literally like just pulling at you and saying like, you gotta go, Paris, Paris, Paris. And I just had this deep feeling of, okay, next phase, Paris, next phase, Paris. And what some people know, some people don't know, is that I actually lived in Paris before,
Oh,
right?
okay. So
So
okay, there's
listen,
familiarity.
I lived in Paris before. I actually did my nurse because I'm a nurse by profession,
Yes.
and I did my nursing studies in Paris, right?
Oh.
And I remember like being a student in Paris, that was like one of the most traumatic experiences I went through.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was so difficult. Like I struggled so much, like in all areas. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I left Paris, I was like, this is it. Like I'm never coming back. I promise you. I told myself, I said, I will never come back to
Never say
Paris
never.
again. I'm like, once I got my diploma, I was like, it's over, it's finished. And here I am now. And God is calling me to go back to Paris. So it was like really, in the Bible to say when you die to yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
now you're coming alive to a purpose, to a mission, right? And
Yeah.
it's no longer about you, it's
Yeah.
no longer about how you felt in the past, but
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, I am given, I'm because also at that time I wasn't in Christ. I
Mm.
was in the world, and I was like going through so much. I
Yeah.
was going through so much, Kourtney,
Yeah.
at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And now for me to come back to Paris, now being a woman of God, now, really coming with a new mindset, with a new way of going about life, with a new way of doing things, and
Yeah.
just seeing like how my whole view of Paris has changed, how my whole experience is different now, right?
Yeah.
All because of how my life now, the life that I decided to live,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
So it was in part scary,
Mm-hmm.
but in part, I also knew that as long as God is leading me,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing to be afraid of.
Come on, man.
So it demanded a lot of audacity,
Yes.
because here I am leaving my comfort zone, because at home it
Yes.
was comfort. It was my mom's there, my dad's there, my sister's
Valid.
there, my
Mm-hmm.
nephews are there, like and like everything is just easy because you're from the
Everything.
island. The island's
Yeah.
small, everything
Yeah.
goes quick. And now it's like, okay, now you're going into a territory that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you don't know, but that is less
It's
comfortable.
different.
But
Yeah. For
you
sure.
don't have your family,
That's
where it's like you gotta almost like start over from scratch, right?
the truth.
Because I sold my company, I sold my car, I sold everything, and I was like, you know what? If I'm going for real. There's no plan B, there's no plan C.
Come
It's
on.
plan A and plan A.
Mm.
And when I got to Paris, here's the kicker. Like, I didn't really have anything planned out. I was just going off of faith,
Yeah.
honestly.
Leap of faith.
I didn't know what I was gonna do. Kourtney, listen, like this is not for the weak.
I
Like you
tell
gotta
you.
be
Yeah, you got to be locked in. It's got to be a
gotta
relationship.
be locked
Wow.
in.
That's a
You
fact.
have to have a level of faith that really allows you to just trust, right? And that was literally the key element, trust. Because I I listen, I had no clue what I was gonna do. I just had this apartment that I was gonna stay at for a month and a half. That was it. I
Mm.
knew where I was gonna be staying for a month and a half. The rest, I
Mhm.
had no idea what was coming after that. And
Wow.
I jumped. I jumped, Kourtney.
Yes.
And but the trust that I had in God, right? It's been a little over a year.
Wow.
I feel like a year now that I'm in Paris. I have never lacked for anything.
Come on.
I've always had a roof over my head.
Come on.
I've always had food in the fridge.
Come on.
Always had clothes on my back, shoes on my feet. I have never lacked for
Mhm.
anything, Kourtney.
Glory to
And that is the grace that, follows you when you walk in obedience.
come on.
Because God he would not lead you to a place to abandon you, right? And you really have to walk with that faith. I had no clue, absolutely none, what I was going to do, but I trusted in God. And I said, if he is calling me to this place, it is certainly because there is something. There is the next phase, the next mission, the next purpose is there, right?
Come on.
And coming here, quickly, I got a job as a nurse educator.
Mm-hmm.
And this has become like my newfound passion. I am so passionate about listen,
Wow.
like I live for this, Kourtney. I live for this. And if I had not taken that leap of faith, I would have never,
Never.
gotten into this profession, come into this place where I'm so passionate, where I'm just pouring into these people on a daily basis. Because it's not like, okay, I'm a nurse educator. Yes, I have to teach medical and all these things.
Yes.
But I'm also taking that opportunity to train these people for life. So
Right.
it's like in between my teachings, I'll always, tell them, just speak a word,
Yeah, put no
plant a seed, right? And I'm in contact with all types of people, right? So I have my nurses that are predominantly female classes. I also have EMTs that I'm teaching as well, students, and
Yes.
they're predominantly men.
Yes.
So now I'm like coming into all this personal development where I'm like, I'm pouring into these men. I'm planting seeds. I'm talking to them about being great fathers, about being amazing husbands, like nothing that has to do with medical, right?
Exactly.
But I'm like, if God has given me this opportunity,
Mhm.
I have to use it, right?
Mhm.
For his glory.
Come on. Got to
For
steward.
his
And it's
and
not, oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, like, even just hearing you say that stuff that you're saying, like, so many things just crossed my mind because, like you said in the beginning, when you went to Paris, that was in the beginning. You're like, this is never. I would never want to go here. But then that's the thing about never say never. And then also when you allow God to direct your life, He'll bring us back to that place where we think is dead and bring life to it. Like to hear that you like, oh no, I'm never going there. But then God brings you back, shifts you, and takes you back to that same place that you thought was dead. And now you see everything blossoming and growing and flourishing. I've seen you in this last year and a half. It is flourishing. I see you doing so many different things and impacting people, even beyond your profession. Like, so you're, like you said, in between, we talking medical, but then I'm going to give you this God. I'm going to give you some purpose in your life. So I just had to chime in and say that, but keep going. But I just hearing that is just so fascinating because so many people think sometimes like, I'm never doing that. You make up your mind in your heart becomes hard, and now God can't use you. Like, what if you didn't open your heart and your mind to say, God, I'm ready to go back. You told me to go there, even though I don't know why you're telling me to go there. You're telling me to get rid of my car, this profession that I already have. I got all this familiarity here, my family, the city, the island. But you're telling me to go somewhere where I don't want to go. Like, that's just powerful. I just want to make sure nobody missed that. So I know you want to keep going or building what I said, but that's just powerful. I just love hearing that God move like that.
right. And here's the thing. It's like a lot of times we feel like in order for us to be impactful, we have to be on this big stage. We
Yes.
have to be at these big conferences. We
Mhm.
have to be, I've been on the radio and different stuff. And we feel like we need this big, how to say, we need this big public, right? We need this audience in order for us to be impactful. You could be impactful right where you are.
Come on. Come
And
on.
that is what I'm,
Come on.
right? I'm being impactful right where God has placed me. And that is the mission that no matter where you are, even if it's in the bottom of I mean, even if it's not a
Anywhere.
bottom, but like even if it's like under a rock,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That you are still being impactful,
Come on.
that you are still, pouring into people. You are still planting seeds, that you are still doing this no matter where you are,
That's so
no
true.
matter the conditions as
Right.
well,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because that's something as well. Like right now, I'm in a praise the Lord, I'm in a beautiful place, right? And
Right.
all that's another miracle.
Yes.
But it wasn't always like that. Like I was in a studio
Mhm.
a few months ago, right?
Yes.
And I had to keep my faith
Mhm.
and keep trusting in that God will make a way, for something more comfortable, in due time. But keep still in that place of that I felt were like small, I still had to keep my spirit big.
Come on. Come
And
on.
that demands also a next level of how to say resilience, right?
Yes.
To
Yes.
not see your current condition
Mhm.
as something that is permanent.
That's very true.
Always tell yourself, you know what? Um, I'm here today,
Mhm.
but this is not my tomorrow.
Right. I'm going somewhere.
Always have more, how to, in French we say de l'espoir. You have hope for better things, hope for better days.
Mhm.
This is a personal testimony. There's this artist, you probably know this artist, Travis Green,
Yes, yes.
right? And I remember I was listening to him once, and he was talking about how his wife had cancer, I
Mhm.
believe. Yeah,
Oh,
she had a sickness, right? She was going through I believe it was cancer.
mhm.
And in that season, right, while his wife was suffering with cancer,
Mhm.
he wrote the song Made a Way.
Oh, now I
You
see.
made a way. When
Wow.
our backs were against the wall and
Yeah.
it looked as if it was over you. He wrote that song
Yeah. Come on.
while being in a situation where his back was against the wall.
Wow.
And he was prophesying, speaking in faith,
Life.
saying that God made a way.
Come on.
And that inspired me to write a song.
Mm.
And I remember just being in that moment where it's like, because the reality of it is this: things
Mhm.
get hard.
Yes.
Now I could speak and it looks chill and
Right,
everything.
right, right.
There were moments where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Wow.
I don't want to be here.
Wow.
I really just want to go back home
Accountability.
and be in a comfort with my mom, with my dad,
Mhm.
and where I know that I won't have to struggle the way I'm struggling right now.
Yeah.
I really went through those moments.
Wow.
And hearing that testimony from Travis Green, that inspired me to write a song. And the song says, it's getting better. It has to get better.
Mhm.
It has gotten better.
Come on.
And every time, I would be in this moment of doubt or of, just feeling like, you know, I'm not seeing things the way I want to see them. I would sing that song of, I want to say of prophecy,
Yeah.
prophet,
Prophetic.
prophet
Yeah. Prophet. Yeah. Prophetic. Yeah. You're speaking over your life.
song,
Yeah.
right? And I would say, it's gotten better. Things are getting better. It has gotten
Yeah.
better.
Power of
It
word.
has gotten better. And I promise you, Kourtney, the more I just keep standing on those words,
Mhm.
the more I've seen things get better, better, and better. And so my story is truly just a story of divine faith. Honestly, just trusting in God.
That's the truth.
Because I had no other choice anyway.
True. That's the truth. And that's how we all are. Like we all have to lean on God. And sometimes the biggest difference is the people who truly lean on God versus the people who don't in those moments. Because we all go through life, we all go through those ups and downs. But the people who are stayed solid, who build the foundation on the rock, which is Jesus Christ, we have to be on that foundation because anything can happen in our life. But if we stay connected to Him, He gonna provide all the paths we need. But when life hit and we don't have a foundation on God, the house is gonna crumble. You know what I mean? So
That's
that's just beautiful to hear your story and that transition, going through that whole period of going from familiarity to uncharted territory, a foreign country per se, like, hey, I don't even territory, like, what am I doing here? And God just making a way. So that's beautiful. I want to transition into the four core questions as it relates to inspiration for Christ. So why did you give your life to Christ?
Okay, so in order to answer that question, I really have to like give us the backstory of
Good. Give it to us.
well, my life.
Yes.
Growing up, I came from a Catholic home.
Mhm.
Um, and which is great, you get the base of okay, there's a God, right?
Mhm.
But like there's a difference between knowing that there's a God and really knowing God.
Come on, relationship.
Right. So my whole, I want to say like growing up, I knew there was a God, but I
Mhm.
didn't know God.
Mm.
And I came into this point of my life where I had the diploma, I had a great job as a nurse. I got the apartment, I got the car,
Mhm.
everything, they tell you, society tells you that you need to be happy.
That's a
And I
fact.
wasn't happy.
Come on.
I was I was like, I got to this point where it was like literally like a mental breakdown. I'm like, I said, this can't be life. This cannot be it. Like, I mean, I get up, I go to work, I come home, I go party, I
Uh,
go, and it's a cycle. And like, okay, like what was like, this is what I'm gonna do until I'm 70?
yeah, like can't be like it has to be more to life. Like it has to be. No, that's so true. So
I
true.
was like, that this cannot be it.
That's a
This
fact.
cannot be it.
Mhm.
And there's this saying that once the student is ready, the teacher shows up.
Come on. I like that.
So I remember I was having this discussion with my brother-in-law, and I was telling him like, I was just speaking, out of this pain,
Yes.
this place of struggle. And I was like, I'm just really struggling. Like, I don't understand. Like, I just feel like my life has no purpose, basically. That's
Yeah.
what I said.
Yeah.
And he, started talking to me and he was like, you should really think about building your relationship with God.
Mhm.
And I was like, I mean, go to church from time to time.
I know. I know.
Go to church from time to time. I'm like you gotta, give me something better.
Like you not give me what I need.
You're not giving me what I need.
Right, right.
And so he bought me two books. He bought me a devotional
Okay.
from, I can't remember what the author's name was, but he bought me a devotional, and he
Mhm.
also bought me life, what is it? What am I on earth for?
Mhm.
Purpose Driven Life book by Rick Warren. I don't know if you know that book.
I've heard, Rick Warren, I've heard of him. I haven't read that one, but I have heard that he writes some good books. I have
Yes. Purpose Driven Life.
in life. Okay, I have to look that up.
And that book changed my life.
Wow.
Because, first of all, the devotionals, I really started with the devotionals because it was easier, right? And
Quick.
with the devotionals, I started now to learn the Bible, what the word of God.
Yes.
Because the whole time before I knew of God,
Mhm.
but I never read the Bible. I'm like,
Yeah. Wow.
like
That's the truth.
I'm just going based off of, what I heard the pastor say, and like, you just keep it very surface level, God, but that's it.
That's
And
it.
so now reading these devotionals, and they would always like, have scriptures and go into explaining the different scriptures. And I'm like, now it's like you adding seasoning now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right. And so I started with the devotional, started getting into the word of God. And then I also, I started reading the Purpose Driven Life book, but it seemed a little too complicated. So I was
Yeah.
like, let me, let
Yeah.
me just fit this one out for now.
Pause it. Yep.
Something amazing happened, Kourtney. I was heading home at night and I started hearing like this. I park up and I come out of my car and I start hearing this like worship, right?
Mhm.
I hear worship. And I look across and I see like it was like this small little building.
Mhm.
And I see there's lights and I see there's people inside and the worship is coming from there. So I go in, right?
Mhm.
And I sit down and these people are worshiping. And then after the worship, they went into um a Bible study.
Yes.
And it was such a life-changing experience for me because I had never like been to a Bible study.
Right.
And so now I'm sitting down with these people, like they don't know me, I don't know them.
Talking about God.
And I'm listening to them just, speak about the Bible and going into like, deep understanding.
Yeah.
And I was like, when the student is ready, the teacher shows up.
I love that.
I was in a space where I was ready.
Come on.
I was desperate.
Come on.
So many things are birthed out of desperation. I
Mhm.
was desperate for something. I didn't know that it was God, but I was desperate for something.
Wow.
And so I started going to this Bible study, and by doing that, I just started getting more and more and more acquainted with the Bible.
Mhm.
As I got acquainted with the Bible, then it's just like this whole shift, a shift in your mentality, a
Mhm.
shift in your spirit. And
Mhm.
it's just like all these layers are just falling off week after week, week after week. And I had lived most of my life, like leading up to that point, very in the world,
Mhm.
smoking, drinking, going out. I did it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like when you come into this space now where you just feel like that love that you've been looking for in all the wrong places,
Mhm.
now you have it, but like at an exponential, how
Love.
to say, it's like in abundance, and like you ain't even have to do anything for it. It's just like
It's there.
just there.
Give it. It's right there, freely given
It's
to.
just right there for you, right?
Yes.
And you're like, wow, I've been searching for this
Mhm.
my whole life,
Right here. It's easy.
all over,
Come on.
with all these people,
Come on.
and it was right there
Yeah.
with
Right.
God.
Come on. And see, and that's the point right there. We have like 3 minutes left, but I want to definitely put a bow on that because, like you said, we look all over in our lives. Like we all try to find things that will fulfill us. We've all been there, whether you're looking at social status, you want the car, the clothes, the family, marriage, kids. Like you said something on one of your other interviews that you said, like you have to be happy and have joy in that relationship with God before all of that. And while you have those things, like it has to be God. So that's just so powerful that God allowed you to go through that experience where you randomly park and you see them worshiping, you go in there. And like you said, I love the phrase you said, like when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. Like I love that. I'm definitely going to be sharing that with people. And I know that the people listening to this got so much inspiration and you're doing so many great things. You're flourishing. I'm watching you and I'm seeing you. And I'm so proud because not even knowing some of the layers that we talked about today, but just the things that you're doing, the lives that you're impacting, continue to keep doing that. And I appreciate you for coming on the podcast because I know some people are going to be touched by this. So for people who are looking for, a mindset coach, look, find her. She's on Facebook, Aya Milagros. I'm telling you, she's a person that's going to help you in your journey, especially if you're in that health field or even outside of it. But she know her thing in that as well. So reach out to her. Thank you again, Aya, for coming on. Truly, truly appreciate you. It's a pleasure to have you on. So to everybody else that's watching, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. You never know who needs this inspiration. Till next time, we'll talk with you guys. To God be the glory. Peace.
Thank you.